Hey folks, thanks for attending another educational webinar presented by BidYourEnergy.com. My name is Tom Johnson and I'll be your host this morning. Today we're talking about EPA rules and regulations that have been put in place in 2012 and how they'll change the market for electricity forever. We're also going to look at how to help offset any new costs that would be associated with these new policies. And it looks like everyone's logged in now, so let's just get started. We're going to focus on one law in particular, the Mercury and Air Toxics Rule. This is also referred to as the Utility MACT, M-A-C-T. This was signed by President Obama in December and finalized by the EPA in February. Part of the bill that we're going to focus on deals mainly with coal-fired electric generating units, that's EGU, and gives them 3 years to comply with new standards. And these standards specifically deal in the emissions of sulfur dioxide. So what the rule says is utilities and power plants are required to scrub down and retrofit coal-fired generating units with a piece of equipment called a flue gas desulfurization unit. Anyone familiar with the Brunner Island power plant that's out in York County, PA, in between Harrisburg and York, will know about the Brunner Island plant and a recent retrofit they did where they installed these FGD units, and it was a $1 billion project. These FGD units scrub the air before it's released into the atmosphere, and you also will hear the term scrubber applied to this equipment. So the EPA makes a case that by improving the air quality across the nation, we're looking at many long-term health benefits because of that, and that's why these retrofits have to happen. So obviously there's a huge cost associated with upgrading these systems, and what we're seeing is many will be forced to shutter because they can't afford these upgrades and continue to operate. Next slide, I have a map here showing all of the coal-fired units that don't meet the criteria under these EPA regulations. There's over 140 of them right now that need upgrades, and in total that's about 33,809 megawatts that could potentially be taken offline. That's nearly 10% of our total coal capacity as a nation. So I clipped out some articles, and here we have one from First Energy. This is a press release taken directly from their website. 3 plants in West Virginia, and I'll read a quote taken directly from the press release. The decision to close these plants is based on the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Mercury and Air Toxics standards, which were recently finalized. Another article here, this is 6 more power plants in Ohio, all owned by First Energy. This makes up 12% of First Energy's entire generating portfolio. And there's also a quote on this article from Charles D. Lasky, the Vice President at First Energy, saying it was a tough decision, but the new rules put in place by the EPA provided sufficient certainty to close the plants. I also highlighted an article from CNN. This was just a couple days ago. Here we have a survey of utility executives, and it confirms that over 90% of the executives that were surveyed believe that rules regarding the use of more renewable energy and a cut in pollution from coal-fired units will lead to higher monthly utility bills for consumers. Okay, go to the next slide. Now what you're looking at here is PJM capacity prices in First Energy territory. The First Energy region is also known as ATSI. That includes the utilities of Northern Ohio, Western PA. And our webinar last week was specifically about this, and we talked about how the power grid in those areas that clears the price for capacity 3 years in advance. So we can actually see where that price is going to be in 2015, which is when these EPA regulations are in effect, and the power plants have 3 years to apply and conform to these rules. And because capacity is a small part of the supply portion of the bill, we can actually see evidence here that your bills are going up. This graph we can see a tripling of the rate that you're paying right now. So I don't know how much more evidence you need than that. I mean, you can be sure that we're not going to be paying the same price we're paying right now 3 years from now. So what can we do to offset these rising costs? Well, the first suggestion we would have would be to upgrade equipment and gain efficiency. Better lighting at your facility, new machinery that uses less demand. Those are upgrades that lower your peak demand and cut your bill down. So you can also install an interval meter, a smart interval meter that tracks your building's electrical usage throughout the day in timed intervals. The meter will show you what time of day you're peaking and will show any anomalies in your usage. That'll show up and you can root out the problem yourself. So also knowing what time of day that you peak is a huge benefit, mainly because the price of power is more expensive at 3 p.m. than, let's say, 6 p.m. or noon. So if you can move your peak around to those off hours, you're going to lower your bill. Next one we have is incentive programs. Join incentive programs. Demand response is a free program that's available in many markets that pays businesses to be on call to reduce their electric usage when the power grid is unstable. All you have to do is lower your peak demand, typically once or twice a year in the summertime when it gets really hot out and the grid becomes overloaded with demand because of air conditioning's running. And demand response is designed to prevent blackouts and brownouts. And there are literally thousands of little things that you can do at your business to lower your peak without reducing your production or impacting your production at all. And a good consultant like Bid Your Energy, not only can we help you develop a plan to participate in a demand response program without hurting your business at all, but we can also help you navigate all of the other incentive programs that are available to you and help you apply sometimes. And finally, leverage the low energy market now. There's an increasing number of companies that we deal with looking at long-term contracts right now, 2 or 3 years. And they're doing this to take advantage of the historically low energy market we are in right now. Everybody agrees that pricing is on the way up in the coming years, and we've already seen a marked increase in the energy market, but we're still low, and you should use the low market to your advantage now while you can. Here's a picture of the market. We are still at the lowest level we've been since 2002. That's 10 years. Now is the time to let Bid Your Energy negotiate a low rate for your electric. We have over 160 employees here. They're all ready to help. Every customer gets assigned their own dedicated analyst, and they go over 30 separate components on your bill. That's a lot of legwork, and they do it all for you. And then we invite over 24 suppliers to come to the table and place bids to compete to provide you with a supply of your electric. Once the auction's over, we'll present the winners to you, and at that point it's up to you whether or not you want to switch. And that's all I have for you folks today. I want to thank all of you again for taking time out of your day to listen to our webinar. Stay tuned for more. You can go to our website, bidyourenergy.com, click on the Get Started link, and we'll do the rest. Or you can call us at 877-669-8243, and I'll be at extension 336. Thanks, everyone. Again, my name is Thomas Johnson, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day.